How many GitHub repos have you starred? 10? 50? 100? If you're like most beginners, and honestly, like I once was, you've probably starred every famous repo out there. Awesome! The encyclopedia of developer resources. TheAlgorithms. Algorithms implemented in every language. Free programming books. The largest free programming library. System Design Primer. The definitive system design reference. You bookmark them all thinking, if I just spend one weekend going through these, I'll finally understand programming. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The repo that actually gets you from 0 to 1 might be a project that hasn't been updated in 2 years. Most beginners follow the same pattern. You download tutorial after tutorial. Learn Python in 30 days. Complete web developer roadmap. Master full stack in 1 month. But the reality is simple. Over 82% of beginners quit programming within their first 90 days. Not because programming is too hard, but because they spend all their time collecting knowledge and almost none of their time building anything real. 20 browser tabs open, 10 new GitHub stars per day. And what's actually written? A few snippets, a broken demo, half of a tutorial. This isn't your fault. Most tutorials teach you to watch, not to build. And that's the problem this video wants to fix. Somewhere between those massive, constantly updated repositories, I found a project that looked outdated, almost abandoned. It's called project-based learning. At first glance, I assumed it was dead. The last commit was 2 years ago. No trending badges, no hype. But the deeper I scrolled, the more I realized. This is one of the most overlooked treasures on GitHub. Unlike the big famous repositories, project-based learning doesn't collect tutorials. It collects projects. Small, runnable, real projects that pull you straight into actual programming. It provides dozens of complete, beginner-friendly paths across many languages, all built on one principle: practice-driven learning. Learn the language by building with it. This approach is the exact opposite of most tutorials. Don't start with syntax. Don't start with definitions. Don't start with isolated concepts. Instead, build, understand. Then learn the theory. This is the learning path that turns beginners into engineers. There's a famous phrase in engineering: don't reinvent the wheel. And yes, that's excellent advice when you're building production systems. But when you're learning, reinventing wheels is the fastest way to grow. When you build a mini HTTP server, a tiny key value store, a JSON parser, a simple compiler, you suddenly understand how memory is structured, how state machines work, why concurrency breaks, how network I/O behaves, what protocols really represent, why frameworks are designed the way they are. These insights don't come from tutorials, influencers, or courses. They come from building things with your own hands, and project-based learning gives you that path, systematically. There's a famous phrase in engineering: don't reinvent the wheel. And yes, that's excellent advice when you're building production systems. But when you're learning, reinventing wheels is the fastest way to grow. When you build a mini HTTP server, a tiny key value store, a JSON parser, a simple compiler, you suddenly understand how memory is structured, how state machines work, why concurrency breaks, how network I/O behaves, what protocols really represent, why frameworks are designed the way they are. These insights don't come from tutorials, influencers, or courses. They come from building things with your own hands. And project-based learning gives you that path, systematically. These 6 iconic repositories are excellent. I recommend all of them. Awesome shows you the map. TheAlgorithms teaches universal algorithm logic. Free programming books is a goldmine of free CS resources. System Design Primer is the peak of architecture explanations. Front-end checklist prevents mistakes before launch. OSSU CS is the closest thing to a free MIT CS degree. They're all valuable, but they answer the question, what should I learn? What most beginners lack is, how do I actually start learning? Project-based learning does exactly that. It gives you a path, not just a map. Technology evolves quickly, but the underlying foundations never change. If you want to understand systems, you still learn C. If you want to understand machines, you still study Linux. If you want to be a senior engineer, you still master data structures and algorithms. If you want to build reliable software, you still need fundamentals. Project-based learning trains you in those fundamentals through system construction, not memorization. And that's why it never becomes outdated. The hardest part of learning programming is not the knowledge, it's staying motivated long enough to finish something real. And the best way to stay motivated is to make every line of code run, to watch something you built come to life. That's the power of project based learning. If you're lost about how to start learning, pick one small project from this repo and try to make it run. One working project will teach you more than 100 starred repositories. I'm Ven Coding. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.